Hey there and welcome back to Mass Effect 2. My name is Pete and today we complete, or rather begin to complete, another small chain of side quests which have been unlocked as a result of unlocking Jacob's loyalty mission, but which have absolutely nothing to do with that mission. That loyalty mission was completed in the last episode where we traveled to the Rosetta Nebula, and that is also where today's mission will take place, but more on that in just a moment. For now, I think it can't hurt to talk to Jacob one more time. As you might remember, the events that unfurled in the last episode might have been a little hard to swallow for him.
Thanks for diverting to the Gurns back, Shepard. I appreciate being able to clean up that mess. And don't worry, it will not affect how I do my job. It's over.
We'll talk later.
Commander.
Alright, Jacob once again ensures us that he's able to put his father's fate behind him, and also once again we can't do much more but to believe him. So, moving on, we will now head over to the tech lab, where we can now complete a small research project that we also picked up in search of Jacob's father last episode. It can be found under weapon upgrades and it is the heavy pistol damage upgrade, which will give our entire squad a nice 10% damage boost when using pistols.
That Kasumi is an interesting addition to the crew. I can see why she's good at her work. She never reveals anything meaningful about herself. It's all on the surface. It'll be a challenge getting to know who she really is. Anyway, what's up?
That'll be all.
I'll be here if you need anything.
Right, if I'm not mistaken, I think we're through with most of her takes on the crew, after which our regular conversations with her will also come to a stop, at least temporarily. For now though, we have one more quick one-liner to go through, as Joker also has a few words to say on Jacob's loyalty mission.
That stuff with Jacob's dad, it's bullshit, right? Because it looked like bullshit to me.
That's it for now.
See you, Commander.
Okay, very enlightening indeed. Now it is finally time to get started with today's mission. And for that, we will of course have to hop into the galaxy map.
Grunt seems very agitated. You may want to check in on him.
As usual, we will ignore Kelly informing us of another loyalty mission becoming available, and instead we will navigate our way out of the Alpha Draconis and into the Phi Cleo system. The entire nebula here is very sparsely populated with stars, and this system here is no different with only 2 of them. Our first stop is the gas giant Silene, which you probably only want to stop by very briefly, as it is a fairly poor candidate for mineral probing. There is also not much else going on here, so let's head over to planet number 2, which would be Parnassus. This volcanic rock planet is much more interesting, because not only does it offer vast amounts of iridium to mine, but interestingly enough, as the description states, the planet does not actually appear in any Citadel records. Especially considering how its neighbor Silene is actually in those records, the idea presented here is that someone may have deleted it from the database on purpose, although sadly this will remain a mystery that will never be solved over the course of the entire trilogy. In the meantime, we have made our way back over to the Enoch system, more specifically to the gas giant Goliath. However, unless you're satisfied with only a few moderate mineral deposits, I would recommend skipping this one for some of the more lucrative planets in the system. One such target might be another gas giant, Mizraim, and not necessarily because of its sheer abundance of minerals, in that regard it's actually quite disappointing, but also because it's one of the rare planets offering a small element 0 deposit. You won't be able to find tons of the stuff here, but maybe it's enough to cover your needs. Even better than Mizraim is then the desert world Laban, because this one also has element 0 and a bit more than Mizraim at that. Additionally though, it also has a very large iridium deposit. There is one more planet in the system with a similar mineral structure though, so let's travel over there, but we'll find a bit more than just minerals.
I have detected an anomaly.
Alright, ED detects an anomaly because this right here is in fact where our mission will take place. You can do some mining here as well though, allowing you to recover a solid amount of element 0 as well as large amounts of platinum.
Coming around for a second patrol, looking for survivors. Bastards didn't know what hit him. Coming around for a second patrol, looking for survivors. Bastards didn't know what hit him. Coming around.
Scans have found something.
As you can see though, we are not interested in those minerals. Instead, we are about to investigate some Blue Sun's mercenary activity in what appears to be an illegal archaeological dig site. Who knows what we'll uncover, so let's assemble our squad and find out. We're facing mostly human mercenaries with shields, so let's take Morden and Miranda for that. Miranda has overload against the shields and Morden can do some damage with his incinerate ability. Regarding our powers, we will not spend any points with Shepard at the moment, as I'm waiting to upgrade Disruptor ammo next. Mordin also only has 1 point to spend and we won't use that either. After his loyalty mission is completed, we can spend that on Neural Shock. Miranda, meanwhile, has 3 points to spend, and while it might make sense to save 1 more to max out an Evolve Warp, we will instead spend all 3 on Overload. After all, that is the ability we picked her for. And that concludes our preparations. Our weapon loadout will remain exactly as it is, so let's touch down and see what the mercenaries are up to. Alright, looks like we sadly won't have the element of surprise on our side, as the mercenaries have already taken notice of our presence, and so we only have a few seconds to get into cover before a large group of Blue Suns is attacking. We are not dealing with anything more substantial here than a single legionnaire and a vast amount of regular troopers. Still, we want to keep our distance regardless, and especially our squad mates can't stay back even further. They are here mostly because of their abilities and not necessarily because of their combat stopping power. As you can see, the troopers all go down fairly quickly. Mordin's upgraded and evolved Heavy Incinerate is definitely a very good ability to use here once their shields are down, but even without it they don't really offer much resistance. Their sheer numbers are in fact the biggest problem in this fight, so our main concern here will be to ensure that nobody is able to flank us and flush us out of cover. Interestingly enough, there is a way to substantially shorten this fight a bit. However, it's a risky one as it involves rushing straight for the door. This is actually possible in one of the next missions of this quest chain as well, because as soon as you arrive at the door it will close permanently, avoiding any additional enemies from spawning behind it. I feel like that approach is a bit on the glitchy side though, so instead we're tackling this fight the proper way. Once all enemies are down, we want to make sure not to head for the door immediately. Instead, we have a few things to take care of first. Number 1, this fight did cost us a good amount of ammunition, so before advancing it makes sense to stock up with the remains of our enemies. We also want to explore the left side of the area a bit further, because over here by the crates we can find a small canister with 175 units of element 0, and if we loop around past the first tank here we can find another one between the two vehicles, this one containing 125 units. Once we have grabbed everything though, we are ready to head inside. At this point though, it might make sense to switch back over to the assault rifle. Unsurprisingly then, as we enter the first room or cavern of this dig site, the enemies are also already waiting for us. Only a small group of 3 Blue Suns troopers for now, but more will join momentarily. It is definitely the most sensible idea to stay put and as far back as possible in the room for more or less the entirety of this fight, because the overall situation here is very similar to the encounter that we just had outside. Lots and lots of weaker enemies, nothing particularly dangerous individually, but as a group they pose a substantial risk if we let them get too close. As you can see, with the first 3 enemies down, the next wave is coming in through the door ahead of us. So we are already starting out with a healthy amount of distance, and using the sniper rifle we ideally want to keep that up. Using the sniper rifle in combination with Adrenaline Rush we can get one-shot kill after one-shot kill here. Admittedly, it turns the entire fight into a fairly repetitive endeavor, but then again, survival is our #1 priority and making it look good comes second. Then, as soon as no more enemies are coming in through the door, we want to change positions and focus our attention on the upstairs balcony ahead of us. As you can see, we have more enemies coming in over there. However, over this distance they are hopelessly outclassed by our sniper rifle, and 3 headshots in quick succession should get rid of them easily. Once they are down, it is time to have a look around and to start looting. Our first priority is once again ammunition, because we're not done with the fighting just yet and there is no other way to restock in this mission. Then, over by the beds here, to the left of where we came in, we have a personal locker containing 250 credits, and there is another one over here to the right of the entrance containing 750. On the table, we can then get an additional 100 credits from the medkit, before we then access the computer terminal in the corner here. The first message here is addressed to Blue Sun's commander Santiago, and it comes from a researcher of the ExoGeni Corporation, who is asking the Blue Suns for transport of both his research team as well as the recovered artifacts. He describes those as sensitive in nature, while in the second message here, Santiago responds and promises escort and transportation in good faith. Now, judging from the fact that the Blue Suns have apparently taken over the dig site, that was probably a lie. The big question at this point is, of course, whether or not the artifacts are still here. And there is only one way to find out, so let's get moving. We are taking the path up the ramp and avoid the door that the mercenaries came through. That door would offer the very same route, however, only on the other side of the mountain wall. At the top here, we will turn left, however, not to go back down, but instead to loot another personal locker, which will grant us another big pile of cash, namely 2,250 credits. As we head back out and continue, it is now a good time to switch back to the assault rifle, because, like I said earlier, we're not done with the fighting just yet. This fight here, however, is not too challenging if we manage to take out the two troopers fast enough, because after a few seconds of fighting, a Blue Suns commander will come down from the ramp on the right here. Unsurprisingly, this guy deserves our full undivided attention, so it's a very good idea to have both troopers taken out at this point. Once the shields are down and the armor is exposed, it might make sense to switch over to Inferno ammo, but then again, this is a 3-on-1 assault and we still have Morden's Heavy Incinerate, which does a fine job against the armor as well. Once the commander is down, we can advance and send our entire squad up the ramp ourselves, which gives us a nice height advantage against the group in the next area. Among the enemies here is also Blue Suns Lieutenant Locke, who can take quite a bit of punishment, and offensively he is the most dangerous enemy here as well, so focusing on him first makes a lot of sense. And despite the height advantage, it actually makes sense to move up a bit closer for this fight, otherwise there will be a lot of cover in the way. For the last enemy here, we're then getting up close and personal, because we still have not unlocked the Brawler achievement, so let's use one more punch and shoot combo for the kill here to get that counter up to 12. That clears the area, so we can now get our hands on one more crate of Element 0 before we needlessly collect some more ammunition and then read through the PDA over here. This is once again a message from Santiago, who was the Blue Suns commander we had to defeat in Zaeed's loyalty mission, by the way, and he reveals that the Blue Suns operation does in fact not end in this dig site, as Santiago mentions a Captain Voorhees among the MSV Strontium Mule, a ship that has apparently been captured by the mercenaries as well. So, looks like we have found the location for the second mission in this quest line. For now though, we still haven't found out what the whole operation here was about, but opening the door ahead of us here sheds a bit more light on that. Look here, we are in fact dealing with an artifact of Prothean nature, a video log to be precise, so let's have a look at what's on there. Alright, mission completed, we have recovered a Prothean relic, and we have picked up the track of a larger Blue Suns operation as well, which we will of course follow up on. For completing this mission, we receive 125 experience points, 7,500 credits and 500 units of Element 0. Not much, but then again, the mission was also fairly short. And here we are back on the Normandy, but we're not quite done with the episode just yet.
Commander, you've received a new message at your private terminal.
Kelly informs us of a new message, so let's have a closer look. And the first one here is in fact just a piecing together of the clues that we just found, as Cerberus Command is getting in on the fun and is now also asking us to investigate the MSV Strontium Mule. Interestingly enough though, it is revealed that the ship is carrying intel of sensitive nature, and considering what we just found in the dig site, it remains very interesting to see what that might be. The second message here then actually pertains to Jacob's loyalty mission, as Leslie, a survivor of the events, contacts us, simply to say thank you and to inform us that the condition is actually treatable, and that she is slowly but steadily making a recovery. That is of course nice to hear and more or less wraps up this mission for good now. And speaking of wrapping up, as we close the message here, I think we have also reached the end of today's episode. Our task for the next one is already laid out for us. We will return to the Omega Nebula and investigate the captured ship. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, then I would be happy if you could leave a thumbs up. And if you want to support me and my channel further, then you can of course subscribe if you haven't already. Alternatively, you can also support the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.